South African jazz trumpeter Hugh Masekela is a legendary figure in world fusion music, renowned for his amazing artistry and innovative skill. Mr. Masekela gave a pre-concert talk on August 5, 2007 at Stern Grove Festival.
I saw a movie called Young Men with a Horn, and Kirk Douglas played the lead in it, and Laurent Bacall and Doris Day and Paul. He was getting all the girls, but he stood in front of the band and he played all the solos, and he had the most beautiful threads, and he didn't take any from anybody. So I figured this must be the instrument to play. But I'd been a musician since I was 6. I started playing the piano when I was 6. My parents got me piano lessons to get me away from the gramophone because I couldn't stay away. So I was a walking anthology of anything that was ever recorded by the time I was 6. And in class, I never heard anything, although I managed to pass because my parents had been school teachers. But whenever we were sitting in class, whenever the teacher called my name, I would go, huh? I was in the gramophone. I was in music. And when I was a kid, I actually thought that, the Victrola. I used to actually, when people were sleeping, used to wake up at night and go and try and talk to the people inside. It's me. Are you there? But I always wanted to live in there, and I've been living there ever since. So by the time I was 13 and I saw this movie, I was in a lot of trouble at boarding school, and my friend Stompy Manana was also a trumpet player, was my best friend. His two brothers were musicians, very advanced musicians, and they played in some of the top bands. And we were grounded, but we snuck out to go and see the movie. And I was in bed with the flu one day, and the chaplain of my school, Bishop Trevor Huddleston, was probably the fiercest anti-apartheid activist, who started like the anti-apartheid movement and the defense and aid. But he was he knew my parents, and he was very interested in restless people. And I was in bed with the flu, and he called everybody creature, and he said, "Creature, what do you really want to do?" The monks are complaining, the nuns are complaining, the teachers are complaining, the monitors are complaining, the prefects are complaining. What is it with you? What do you really want to do? And I thought this was my chance, and I said, "Father, if you can get me a trumpet, I won't bother anybody anymore." And it wasn't true, really, but it didn't come true. But he got me a trumpet and a trumpet teacher, and I started playing. That's all I did after that. And after 3 months, because I knew all the elements of music, my friends were like, "Wow, Hugh, you're playing, man." And so they went to Huddleston and said, "Father, can I get a trombone? Father, can I?" And soon we had the Huddleston Jazz Band at school, who were the first youth band in South Africa. And then all the black schools in South Africa were missionary schools. So he was in the Anglican diocese. And the community of the Resurrection, which was his brotherhood, worked with Africans in health, welfare, and education. Of course, underground in resistance. And he convinced the Anglican diocese to close all the black schools in 1955 rather than accept the inferior Bantu education that the government had introduced for black people. And the diocese agreed. And that was the last straw for the South African government. They asked superiors in England to call him back. On his way back to England, he passed through America and through one of the brotherhoods There was a clarinet player, one of the fathers that was from his brotherhood, knew Louis Armstrong. And he went to a Louis Armstrong concert. And when Louis Armstrong was introduced to Father Huddleston told him about the band of young guys in South Africa. And Sashmo said, I got to send them one of my horns. So he sent us one of his trumpets. And of course, we were splashed in the newspapers for a whole year. And people had never seen black people on the front of the newspapers before. But the paradox here was that Louis Armstrong himself couldn't come to, he was on an African tour at the time, but he was banned from South Africa. And he couldn't come there, but his horn did more for us than his presence could have done. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to meet Louis Armstrong and spent some time with him. And he was also a great inspiration because Louis Armstrong never finished a paragraph without talking about New Orleans. Always New Orleans. And we couldn't praise him about anything. So, man, I got it in New Orleans, and it just like, and I learned from him that really you don't come into the world with anything. You find it here, and you're lucky that people pass it on to you, and you got to pass it on.
Your support helps make possible Stern Grove Festival's admission-free concerts and outreach programs. Please make a donation online at www.sterngrove.org.